Hey everyone, it's Maribel Blue with a new Pathetically Unfiltered. If you are new here, welcome to this channel. Take a moment and hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you will get notified when I upload a new video. And if you are not new, welcome back. So we have a lot to cover. We are going to do a news and reactions to the I've Had It podcast. Jennifer Welsh, I think her name is. She had Don Lemon on. And let me just tell you, people on the right, I do not know what they are understanding when they come up with these new they broke this law. They're just coming up with anything at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and play the beginning of this video and then play a little bit of Don Lemon, who was interviewing a pastor at a church. And apparently that sparked a law he allegedly broke.
The Trump administration has a huge problem with the First Amendment. Kylie put up this tweet from little DL Queen Benny Johnson. Breaking, DOJ announces intention to charge Don Lemon under the Ku Klux Klan Act. I want to remind everybody that Don Lemon is a Black man, and today is Martin Luther King Day. And I have to join us right now, none other than best friend of IHIP News, Don Lemon. Don, how did you hear about this?
I heard of someone texted me and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm really sorry that you're going through this." And I said, "Going through what?" Because I've been traveling all night. I was in Minnesota, and that's how I heard about it. But I haven't heard anything from anybody, DOJ officially. I've just heard lots of people just yapping, on either the internet, on social media, or on conservative, podcast or Fox News.
All right. So walk us through this. You went to Minnesota. You're an independent journalist. I'm sure everybody's abundantly clear with your work. And you are reporting on all of these ICE protests, and you end up at a church. Is that what this is regarding?
Yeah. So I went to Minneapolis to cover the unrest there. And I was asking people what's going on the ground. I'm going to get there. Should I go directly to the Whipple, whatever? And they said, well, there's this thing happening that they've been sending out flyers for. Perhaps you want to cover this. So I said, sure. And I went, okay, I'll cover. And then when I went to cover it, they said, we're doing this protest that is sort of similar to the civil rights movement, where they show up places and they sort of disrupt the peace, like sitting in at lunch counters or, drinking out of water fountains that were only supposed to be for white people. And I said, sure, I'll go, I'll chronicle it. And they ended up at a church. I didn't even know they were going to a church.
I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to the part of the interview when he went to the church.
But I took from your Instagram, you interviewed this pastor, and let's watch this together from your Instagram, and then I want to get your take on what was going on. Play the clip.
Okay.
What do you think of this? I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's the Constitution and the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus, because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world, is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here. Yes. Okay, that's why we're here. Okay. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to chronicle what happened?
Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship. Yeah. We're here to worship.
Can I just say, this man is so full of shit with his fucking Jesus bullshit. I just needed to say that. These people have confiscated anything that had to do with Christianity. If Christianity was a good thing, these people have literally confiscated this whole entire religion and made it all about fear and control.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Weird to me that he's all about, this is the type of Christianity I grew up around. Recruiting, but not helping, not comforting. not providing, like, these people are hurting. These people that ICE are targeting are suffering. They're marginalized. And I thought you did an excellent job with the pastor saying, don't you think Jesus would want to talk to these people and help these people?
Yeah. Well, and also remember, as someone who wrote the book and was on your show about, wrote a book about God. Jesus turned the tables over in the temple, right? He flipped the tables because he was tired of them, not doing what they're supposed to do in his Father's house and not living up to the tenets of Christianity. And so, it is surprising to me if it is true that this person is somehow works for ICE. And also it is true that they're not understanding now of the protesters, is that they're doing the exact opposite of what Christianity is supposed to be about.
So I just need to say this, and I think it's important to bring up something that Jennifer said. She was talking about what these Christian nationalists do is recruit. And it is no different from these cult like people who find people who are probably feeling despair, alone, out of place with whatever group they are involved in, and then find a group who really doesn't care about them, about their well being, about their mental stability, and say, no, come with us. You are like us. Your skin color is like us.
Jesus was not meant to die. He failed because the people of his time wouldn't listen to him. God chose him as the champion of his age, just as he chose Buddha, Confucius, and Muhammad. What would we do with this crazy man Jesus today? Kill him all over again? And for what? What was his message? It's so simple. Love thy neighbor as thyself.
Because that's what Christian nationalism is about. It's about racism, is about this white power that they like to promote. And that's just one part of a cult mentality. When you think about Jim Jones and what he did, Jim Jones was a white man who advocated for Black and brown people. But in reality, Jim Jones did not care about anybody but himself. He was a narcissist. He had the Black and brown people literally building things for him. He wasn't picking up anything. When he started to get found out and he took everybody to Guyana, who were the people building up that town, that Jonestown? It was the Black and brown people. It was not him. He wasn't lifting up any fingers to build houses and to make everything comfortable for the people there. If anything, they went from one disaster to another. And unfortunately, 900 of those people did not come back alive. For anyone to sit there and think that all of this is okay and to use the form of Jesus Christ, who allegedly walked on this earth and spread humanity and empathy. And then you have these people doing the complete opposite of what they claim Jesus Christ was doing. How are you saying in one breath you're worshiping Jesus because he was for humanity and then be against humanity? Oh, wait, is it because it just doesn't go for anybody else because it's the illegals that's taking everything from you? Listen to how you sound. You don't sound correct. Anyway, moving on to later part of the video with this Benny Johnson dude. I don't know where these people come from, why they have a platform in the first place, but this is the world that we live in.
All right, Kylie, do you have that loaded up? Let's hear what little Benny had to say. Little being the operative word.
Pursue charges in this case. I see various crimes that have occurred. Exactly what they are, I'm not going to flag, but the FACE Act has been mentioned as one of the predicates there.
I just need to say that woman sounds so damn stupid. Continue.
In other cases, the Biden DOJ used the Klan Act conspiracy charges tacked on to the FACE Act in the case of protests outside abortion clinics to bring much longer sentences. So there are a number of tools available to us. Who funded this? What else? What other crimes may have occurred?
Pause
Was
that
there
real
use
quick.
of
This idea that is always in the right wing, where they say, who funded this?
Who
How much are
funded
they getting paid?
our
Because they
paid
don't
agitators?
understand that people care about other people for free, and that people hate fascists and Donald Trump for fucking free. All right, play the clip.
the wires or the mails in preparing for this event? Did anyone cross state lines to do this? All of those are potential predicates for additional federal charges.
Armin, I've just pulled up the Klan Act because this is the first time that I've heard this mentioned. This is a act that was passed in 1871, correction there, to combat the Ku Klux Klan and protect African Americans' voting rights, especially the Enforcement Act, which is known as the Force Act. So here's some of the information on screen. Would you mind breaking down for us, because we have just read the FACE Act and how this is in obscenity to the FACE Act, an obvious and egregious demonstrable violation of the FACE Act, because they were entering a place of worship, harassing and threatening. We just played a video of a man, a bearded man, who was threatening to attack the Christians that were worshiping there. So it seems like an obvious FACE Act violation. But the Klan Act here, it is on screen. First time I've heard it mentioned. Can you unpack this for us, Harmeet?
Yeah, the Klan Act is one of the most important federal civil rights statutes, and it goes back to the time when President Lincoln emancipated the slaves, and yet the southern states, Dixiecrats mainly, were refusing to give them equal rights. And in fact, that you had sheriffs and you had law enforcement harassing the newly freed slaves. So the Klan Act is a law that makes it illegal to terrorize citizens, to violate their civil rights, to get together and conspire to violate the civil rights. It is often used against law enforcement, but is now used against others as well. So whenever anyone...
So Don, it's abundantly obvious to me that if they do charge you, you're going to lawyer up and they're going to go get humiliated in federal court yet again, because these people are dumber than a box of hot rocks. They're so breathtakingly stupid. I can't even take it.
Look, I don't know who that woman is, but she sounded very stupid. As a matter of fact, when they brought up this Ku Klux Klan thing, it almost as if it defeated what they were trying to say. So you can't be bringing up like these old laws and then trying to pretzel in how Don Lemon allegedly broke the law. Clearly, he did not break the law. And as a matter of fact, if you watch that video very closely, as Don Lemon was interviewing him, the man pushed him, and Don Lemon said, "Don't push me." Like, why was he pushing him away for? The man is trying to do an interview and he's asking questions. Okay, the man can turn around and say, "You know what? I'm not going to answer any questions anymore. Please take your interview somewhere else." People are entitled to say that. You don't have to be interviewed. You don't have to be forced to be interviewed if you feel uncomfortable. But to make these accusations like your life was being threatened with a microphone? Were you scared of the microphone? Like, what's going on here? I can talk about stupidity till I'm blue in the face. The fact of the matter is, it's not going to change a lot of people's minds in how they are viewing things in front of them. They still think that Renee Good was trying to run over Jonathan Ross. And we all know it's kind of hard when she's like turning around the other way, literally driving away from his camera angle, telling him that she's not mad at him. Clearly not a threat. Her arm was out. Her other arm is on the steering wheel. How he was threatened? We know that he wasn't. No, he does not have any type of blanket immunity. And we know that. We know that JD Vance made up a story that he thinks that people are not going to look up or understand the laws. That's why we have practicing attorneys who break these things down and share with us the legal aspects of what can be done. If anybody didn't know, murder does not have a statute of limitation. I thought that maybe you should know that. So with all that being said, what do you think about everything that happened with Don Lemon? And as always, remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other. Most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.